of February next year, with anyone defying the ban potentially facing, check this, a 14-year prison sentence.
Wow. Well, this comes after a shocking number of attacks involving the breed, though owners insist the dogs make lovable pets.
Joining us now to discuss this is PETA's Jennifer White, who supports the ban, and dog trainer and behavioural expert John Allison, who believes it's not the right way to go. I'd like to start, if I can, with you, Jennifer. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Don't know what your take is on this, but just want to throw out there what many, many, many people, not just parents, but people will believe, and it's highlighted by Sarah, who's emailed in this morning, any dog that has the power to take a human life without any possibility of getting controlled, then they should not have a place in our streets. I understand people. I hear all the time about, you know, it's about the owners and all that, but people are genuinely scared, right?
Yes, and, you know, banning these dogs is absolutely the right and the responsible thing to do. And while this legislation is by no means perfect, it is going to protect the public, and of course it's going to protect dogs as well, because we have to remember that these dogs were deliberately bred by humans to attack, to maim. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of them end up in the wrong hands. And we know that by preventing a breed of these dogs, it will in turn reduce attacks and will also prevent dogs from being in the wrong homes.
And John, you're a dog trainer and behavioural expert. What's your response to what's been said there?
So I'm not shocked by the announcement, but I'm extremely disappointed in the announcement. There's a lot of false information being put out there about these dogs, one of which has just been said there. These dogs were not bred to kill. They were not bred to endanger anyone. This dog was actually bred for the total opposite. The prey drive was attempted to be bred out of the dog. There's absolutely no question that we have dangerous dogs out there. However, a simple banning of an individual breed will never solve the issues we're experiencing with dangerous dogs in our communities.
But John, regardless of the way in which they've been bred or the intention with which they've been bred, you can't deny that over the past few months we've seen such an increase in attacks by these dogs. And I'm absolutely an animal person. I do not think that it's the dog's fault at all. However, there is something innate within them that, if triggered, even the best looked after dog and the best trained dog has the potential to cause damage depending on how big it is. And the bigger the dog, unfortunately, the more damage it's going to cause.
Absolutely, and I can't disagree with the size and power of these dogs. There's absolutely no disputing that. However, in recent weeks and months, the information put out on the media regarding dog attacks have all been XL or bully types. Now, there has never been any clear description of which dogs have carried out the attacks. So, if anything, any large dog that has any sort of muscular structure to it is being categorised as an XL bully. A lot of the dogs in which I am seeing in the images that you're showing at the moment, these are mixed bull breeds. They're not the standard of an American XL bully.
John,
and this is what's so disappointing for me.
Can I jump in and ask you a question? Because I did this on JK Live several times, and I spoke to a gentleman like you, and I totally get it. But here's what I want to ask you, really for the people who are terrified. OK, so you're a dog expert, that's fine. You talk about false information, you might be right, you might not. What is not false information is that people are being attacked on our streets, whether they're crossbreeds, whether they're XL bullies or whatever, whether this is a good policy or it's a government thinking we're 12 months from an election. What needs to be done, my friend, to protect the public who are becoming, whether we like it or not, increasingly scared? Nick says she's having a baby in 3 months. There's one without a lead down her road. What's she going to feel like pushing the pram in 6 months' time? What needs to be done, John?
This is where we need to allow the law to take place. Right at the moment, we have laws in place. However, the consequences are not being put into place. We need to have tough prison sentences. We need to have tough and serious consequences for these dog attacks, regardless of the dog breed. If your dog attacks someone, it should be treated no differently to you attacking someone with a weapon. This is why I feel so strongly about being against the banning of an individual breed. We need to deal with the problem at hand, and this is dangerous dogs within the communities, not an individual breed. Let's start introducing strict licensing. Let's start introducing correct training. not what you feel is morally correct, what we feel is the right training for that dog. Serious consequences and tough legislation that needs to be action. This can't just be on paper. You could face 14 years in prison. It needs to take place. The courts need to take action. If we have these consequences in place, it will deter these irresponsible and negligent dog owners and breeders from having any dogs, because let's be honest here, we will ban the XL bully. In 10 to 15 years, we'll be looking to add dog 6, potentially dog breed 7 to the banned list. We need to
John,
deal with...
Can I bring Jennifer in?
Yeah, bring Jennifer in.
Thank you, mate.
You'd surely agree with some of what John was saying there, that there needs to be tougher regulation, etc. But just, can you clarify what PETA's position is? Because surely these dogs are not going to be put down. You wouldn't be supporting the euthanisation of these dogs.
Yeah, so the government is offering a certificate of exemption, which would mean that responsible dog guardians can keep their dogs. And of course, this would come with some conditions. The dog would have to be spayed and neutered. They would have to be microchipped. They would have to wear a muzzle and be on a leash at all times when they're out in public. But it would mean that dogs could stay in good homes. And the whole purpose of this legislation is to prevent more of these dogs from being born into a world which treats them so unkindly, not taking dogs out of good homes.
But my question is this, and I take actually what John says more than I thought I would. Who's going to decide what makes a good custodian of a dog? Surely people, you have to pass a driving test. Shouldn't be people, should there not be licences? Should there not be training? There should not be certificates. Should there not be, if you don't, but who? The police haven't got time to deal with burglaries. How are they going to deal with this, for goodness sake?
Well, I think this is why it's such a multifaceted issue. And of course, antisocial behaviour and, irresponsible dog ownership plays a huge part in this. But it is undeniable that the rise in fatal dog attacks is correlated with the rise of these dogs in the UK. And unfortunately, because of how they look, they do end up in the wrong hands. And they are the most breed that is likely going to be chained up, be abused, punched, kicked. And it's really awful. And it's so cruel to breed these dogs into a world which we know is going to treat them so unkindly.
And I actually disagree with what John was suggesting there, which was that people should be punished as if they used a dog as a weapon. No, what do you mean?
If they're a criminal and they're using it for
that's different.
I think that's what he was alluding to.
No, but I think what he was alluding to was if a dog attacks somebody, that whoever the owner was should be prosecuted as if they were using that dog as a weapon. I fundamentally disagree with that, because you cannot possibly always predict what a dog is going to do. We've got the sweetest little Cocker Spaniel, but bless him, whenever he sees a white husky, for whatever reason, he goes nuts. And there's very little we can do to be able to recall him.
I would love to be able to keep this on. We can't. But I think we would all agree that what we've seen on our streets is unacceptable to the British public. And whether it is, as John says, licensing, training, certification, as you say, PETA's position as well. There are thousands of people, hundreds of millions of people are dog lovers, but there is an inherent fear right now. My only fear is that this government, it's another one of those announcements because in 12 months there's an election. This is a debate that will carry on forever. John, thank you. Jennifer, thank you very, very much indeed.